Today I want to introduce you to a program called Lightroom. Lightroom is made by Adobe, and they actually call it Adobe Photoshop Lightroom. You could consider it the close cousin of Photoshop. It does many different things. It doesn't do what Photoshop does, and Photoshop doesn't do what Lightroom does. So they're two separate tools, both really great programs. I really enjoy this program a lot, and I will show you how you can use it. First of all, you're going to need to get some photos into your library. The great thing about Lightroom is you can import all of your photos and have separate folders and view those separate folders, as well as edit those pictures individually. You can export them as books, slideshows, print, and web, as well as export your pictures just as image files. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm actually going to import a folder that is already on my computer. Many of you will import files directly from your SD card from your camera. I will have that information on a separate video. It's pretty easy to do. But right now I'm going to go over to the left, make sure that you're up here on your library tab. That way you have these options. And where it says folders, I'm going to click the plus, create new folder, then select add folder. At my D drive, I have a folder that I've already used. I'm going to select that folder. Now I have my import pictures information. And up top, I can either copy, move, or add. And I'm going to simply add these to Lightroom without moving them. As you can see, it says add photos to catalog without moving them. Otherwise, if it's coming off an SD card, you'll obviously copy it from the SD card and import it and choose your destination folder. You will want to choose your D drive when that occurs. That can be found over here if you are copying. Here I'm going to select, I'm going to have all of my photos, and you can deselect all and just go individually if you have a few that you want to get, or if you had multiple photo shoots, you can usually select which shooting date that you want to import. These are all shot on the same day, so I'm going to import all of these to the library. File handling, when it's importing, you can select don't import selected suspected duplicates, and you can also have them rendered. So you could render the 1:1, which I'll show you later on why you'd want that, or the standard. I'm just going to import these first, and then I'll show you how you can render them quickly later on when they're in your library. So right now at the top left, you can see that this bar is going across. It's very quick right now because it's already on the hard drive. If it were copying from your SD card, it would take a little bit longer. It depends on how many files and how much data you are copying over. Okay, so right now I have images in my library. Before I had 0 pictures in my library. You will have many hundreds, possibly thousands of photos in your library, and you want to keep those nice and organized. Right now the photos that I have imported, you can see under folders, if I do this drop down, twirl down triangle, I just have them on my data drive. You will have multiple folders, and you'll be able to see more here on the left as you import your projects throughout the year. Okay, so as you go through Lightroom, right now you can see all these different thumbnails up here in this main screen. You can also see them down below here. If I were to double click on a picture, I can see it larger, but I also have the option to see the thumbnails down here and scroll through. If there's an image that needs to be rotated, you can click and rotate your image. And if you're in thumbnails and you have a bunch of images that need to be rotated, you can select one, hold shift down, select however many you need, and then you can rotate them by hovering over this one of the images, and it allows you to rotate clockwise over here, counterclockwise, and everything that's selected will rotate. So it's very quick. On the far right, that has quick develop options. I almost never ever use these options. I'd rather go in and be a little bit more precise. So where I'm going to go next is on the top right. You go from library to develop, and this is the develop mode. So here are some pictures of my friend that I can go in and edit. I can decide what I want to edit. You've noticed on the left here it's now different than in the library mode. So I go back to library mode, you can see what options you have here. This allows you on the left to publish to services like your hard drive, Adobe Reveal, Facebook, and Flickr. I don't usually publish directly to these sites. I will export to my hard drive. Now if I go back to develop, on the left it's different. You have presets, all these little twirl downs. These are presets that I brought into my preset library. Snapshots and history. What is great about Lightroom, and the reason why I use Lightroom all the time, is because first of all, it is set up to use raw files on your camera, and every single SLR camera has this option. You can shoot in the raw format. If you look down here, it has information on this image, and it is telling me that the image name is img_0190.cr2. That CR2 file is a raw file format shot on a Canon. If you shoot with a Nikon, it's an NEF. That is the highest quality image that you can get from that camera, and this program is set up to use the raw file format. What I love about this program is you can make as many adjustments as you would like and go back to the original version without having any there's no destructive editing in this program. So if I make adjustments, I can always go back and tweak them very easily, and I can also go back in the history palette and undo each step. So what I want to do now first is to find an image that I want to work on. These are pretty small, and if I'd like to see them larger, I can go down here to the bottom right and enlarge the thumbnails. It's a little bit fuzzy right now. The computer has to go through and kind of render those. I had talked about rendering previews. So if I'm going to select these photos, I just go and click Shift and go over to Library, go down to Previews, and I can render standard size previews. Those are already done. If I select all of them, Control A, and now it's rendering those previews. You can see this is going to go across. There's 439, so it'll take a little while. A standard size preview is when you double click on the image and it fills the screen like this. Now if I click on this image with the zoom in, it's loading and it has to render the 1:1 ratio. If you look over here on the far left, you can see what portion of the image you're actually looking at. The camera has to render that, or actually the computer has to render that 1:1 preview. So if you want to, you can go in, if you know that you're going to be looking at a lot of them at 1:1 ratio, you can select all pictures, go to Library, go down to Previews, and render 1:1 previews. Now I have two things rendering. I have the standard previews and the 1:1. The 1:1 is going to take a little bit longer because it takes more processing power. But while that's occurring, you can be working on your photos still. So that's nice. It's a nice tool to have. So I have these thumbnails. I'm going to scroll down and try to find the image that I want to work on. And I think for right now, let's see. You can also flag these images if you want to categorize. If you hover over the image, it allows you to rate them, star rate them. So you can put whatever pictures you want with certain stars, certain ratings. These all got rated because I had them all selected, so you will want to undo that. And I hadn't paid attention to what was selected. Down here, at the very bottom where it says folder, it says 498 photos, 498 selected. I can go up to edit and select none. That way anything I adjust will only affect one image. Okay, so I think I found the image that I'm going to work on. Double click on that and go to develop. This image is pretty strong, I think, just starting out, so there isn't going to be that much that I want to edit. But once I'm in the develop mode, I can go in and adjust things as I would like and play around and see what Lightroom will do.